She built an empire, one Sunday dinner at a time. The Janice Monroe story. The first plate. It's 6:47 a.m. on a Sunday. Janice Monroe is already awake. She's been awake since 5. That's just how she's built. She stands at her kitchen sink in a pair of worn house slippers, looking out at a quiet street in College Park, Georgia. The neighborhood is still asleep. The sky is that specific shade of gray-blue that only exists before the world starts demanding things from you. Janice has a shift at Mercy Regional Hospital in 4 hours. Kitchen aide, 6 years running. She ties her hair back, moves to the stove, and starts cooking. Not for herself. She's been thinking about Denise all week. Denise is the charge nurse on the 3rd floor. 12-hour shifts, 2 kids at home, a mother in a nursing facility across town. And every single morning for the past 3 weeks, Janice has watched Denise eat a granola bar at the nurse's station like it's a full meal. Head down, eyes tired, eating like someone who forgot that food is supposed to be something you actually enjoy. Janice thinks about her grandmother's kitchen, Miss Dorothy May, College Park born and raised, a woman who could feed 15 people on a tight budget and make every single one of them feel like royalty. Smothered chicken, candied yams, collard greens with smoked turkey neck, mac and cheese so rich it holds a spoon straight up. Janice cooks all of it that Sunday morning. She packs it into a foil pan, wraps it tight, labels it with a sticky note that just says, "Denise, eat something real today. J." She brings it in Monday morning tucked under her arm like it's nothing. She leaves it on the counter at the nurse's station without saying a word. She's 3 hallways away when she hears it. "Oh my God!" She stops walking. Denise's voice carries down the corridor. "This tastes like my mama's house." Janice smiles to herself and keeps moving. She doesn't think it's the beginning of anything. She just thinks she fed somebody who needed feeding. But 3 nurses were standing at that counter when Denise opened the pan, and all 3 of them are already wondering the same thing. Can she make me one too? Word spreads fast in a hospital. By the 2nd Sunday, Janice is making 8 plates. By the 3rd, 14. She's spending $60, sometimes $70 a week out of her own pocket. Groceries lined up on her kitchen counter every Saturday night. She's not charging anyone. It doesn't feel right to charge. These people run codes. They hold patients' hands at 3 a.m. They cry in supply closets and come back out smiling. Charging them feels like taxing someone for being good. But her sister Renee doesn't see it that way. Renee drives over from Riverdale one Saturday afternoon, walks into Janice's kitchen, looks at the foil pan stacked on the counter, and sits down at the table. She says, "Janice, sit down." Janice keeps stirring her pot. "Janice?" She sits. Renee slides a notepad across the table. "Write down everything you spent this month." Janice hesitates. Then she writes. Groceries, foil pans, plastic wrap, bags. $243 in 1 month. She stares at the number. Renee doesn't say, "I told you so." She just says, "You're running a restaurant and calling it kindness. That's beautiful. But kindness doesn't pay your light bill." Janice doesn't respond right away. She looks at the notepad for a long time. The next Sunday, she writes a price on a sticky note. $12 a plate. She tapes it to a sign-up sheet and leaves it in the 3rd floor break room before anyone gets in. She spends her whole shift waiting for someone to say something. Nobody does. By end of day, 22 names are on that sheet. Janice does the math in the parking garage on her way to her car. $264 from one Sunday. She stops walking. She does the math again. Same answer. She sits in her 2019 Nissan Altima with the cracked dashboard, and she doesn't move for 10 full minutes. Something is happening. She doesn't have a name for it yet, but she can feel it the way you feel a season changing. Something is turning. The subscription. Janice's cousin Marcus is the kind of person who sees systems everywhere. He drives up from Macon on a Saturday, sits at her kitchen table, and watches her work. He doesn't say anything for a long time. He just watches. The way she moves, the order of things, the precision inside what looks effortless. Finally, he says, "You need to systemize this." Janice looks at him sideways. "I need to what?" He pulls out his laptop. He explains a subscription model. People pay up front, weekly, 5 meals Monday through Friday, $45 a week. Predictable income, predictable demand. She knows exactly how much to cook. She knows exactly how much money is coming. Janice listens. She's skeptical. She says, "Marcus, these are nurses, not tech people." He says, "Nurses have bank accounts, Janice." He builds her a Google form in 20 minutes. Clean, simple. Your name, your unit, your meal preference, your payment. That Thursday night at 11 p.m., Janice posts the link in the Mercy Regional Hospital staff Facebook group. She types the post 3 times before she hits send. She goes to bed telling herself to expect maybe 10 signups. She wakes up at 6 a.m. 63 responses. She reads it twice. She sits up in bed and reads it a third time. 63 people. $2,835 weekly. Janice calls her job that morning. First sick day in 4 years. She's not sick. She just needs a day to sit with what is happening to her life. She calls her mama from the couch. Her mama is quiet for a moment after she hears the number. Then she says, "Baby, that's your grandmother coming through you." Janice cries, hard. The kind of crying that isn't sad. The kind that happens when something you were supposed to do finally arrives. She cries for a while. Then she dries her face, because 63 people are expecting food by Monday morning, and Janice Monroe has never missed a commitment in her life. She's not about to start now. The operation. Janice rents kitchen space from Greater Refuge Baptist Church in Decatur. Pastor Williams gives her Saturdays and Sundays for $200 a week. She doesn't tell him what she's making yet. He doesn't ask. He just says, "Whatever you're doing, do it with excellence." She builds her team from the people already in her life. Renee comes in every Saturday at 7 a.m. without being asked twice. Cousin Tanya drives over Sunday mornings, braids still in, coffee in hand. Miss Evelyn from next door, 67 years old, bad knee, faster hands than anyone in that kitchen, shows up and just starts chopping like she's been on the payroll for years. Janice builds a system. Grocery run Friday evening, prep Saturday morning, full cook Sunday, packaged and labeled by 9 p.m., delivered to hospital break rooms by 5 a.m. Monday. She learns what FIFO means, first in, first out. She buys commercial foil trays by the case from a restaurant supply store off Moreland Avenue. She creates a rotating weekly menu posted every Thursday. Week 1. Smothered pork chops, collard greens, sweet potato casserole, black-eyed peas, cornbread. Week 2, oxtails, cabbage, rice and gravy, fried corn, skillet cornbread. People start texting her directly, not just from Mercy Regional, from Northside, from Piedmont, from Emory Midtown. Nurses telling other nurses, CNAs forwarding the menu link in group chats. By week 6, Janice has subscribers at 4 hospitals across the Atlanta metro. She counts the money one evening at her kitchen table after everyone has gone home. $11,000 in 1 month. She's never seen that number with her name attached to it. Her hands are shaking a little as she counts, but her feet still hurt from standing all day. She's still sleeping in the same bed, in the same house, wearing the same worn slippers. And she realizes something cold and necessary. The money is growing faster than her infrastructure. The demand is growing faster than her team. If she doesn't get in front of this, it won't just plateau. It will collapse. And she will have let down 63 people who trusted her with their lunch. That thought alone keeps her up until 2 a.m., planning. The brand. Janice finds Jordan on Instagram, 22 years old, Savannah College of Art and Design, portfolio full of clean, bold, soulful work. Jordan quotes her $500 for a full brand package: logo, color palette, font system, label design. Janice almost says no. She says yes. 3 days later, Jordan sends over the options. Janice opens the files at her kitchen table. Option 1 is clean and modern. Option 2 is soft and warm. Option 3 stops her cold. A cast iron skillet. And above it, a crown. Simple, strong, unapologetic. The name beneath it, Sunday Royale. Janice stares at it for a full minute without blinking. She types back one word. This one. When the first printed labels arrive, and she peels one off and presses it onto a foil pan, something inside her shifts permanently. This is not a side hustle. This is a company. She finds a licensed commercial kitchen space in East Atlanta. 1,400 square feet, 2 industrial stoves, a walk-in refrigerator, a prep area with steel tables that gleam under fluorescent light. Monthly rent, $3,200. She signs the lease with a hand that only trembles a little. The first night she has the keys, she goes alone. She doesn't turn the lights on right away. She just stands in the dark in the middle of that kitchen. She runs her hand along the cold steel counter. She thinks about Dorothy May standing at a stove with 2 bad burners, feeding whoever showed up hungry. Never once imagining this. Janice takes out her phone. 1 photo. No filter. Kitchen dark behind her, 1 overhead light catching her face just right. She posts it with 1 line of caption. She said cook. By morning, 60,000 people have liked it. The internet has found Janice Monroe. And the internet, once it finds you, does not let you be small again. The empire expands. The call comes on a Tuesday. A food distribution company out of Nashville. They've been watching Sunday Royale grow for 3 months. They want a meeting. Janice puts on her good blazer and drives to a hotel conference room in Buckhead. 3 men in suits, laptops, printed decks. A bottle of water they pour for her like she's already impressed. They want to talk about frozen meals, Sunday Royale flavors, retail packaging, grocery distribution. They put a number on the table, a partnership deal worth $400,000 over 2 years. Janice keeps her face completely still. She was raised to never let people see what a number does to you. She thanks them. She says she'll be in touch. She rides the elevator down alone. The doors close, and then she allows herself 1 full second of silent screaming. She calls Marcus from the parking deck. She's whispering. He says, "Janice, do not sign 1 word until a lawyer reads every line. I don't care how nice they seemed." She hires an attorney named Patricia Webb, sharp, experienced, black woman who has been in rooms like that one for 30 years. Patricia reads the contract overnight and calls Janice at 8 a.m. "Good thing you didn't sign," she says. 2 clauses buried in the agreement. One would have given the distributor co-ownership of any new recipe developed under the partnership. The second would have transferred the Sunday Royale brand name to a jointly held LLC that they controlled. Everything Dorothy May ever taught Janice, packaged up and handed to 3 men in suits in a Buckhead hotel. Patricia renegotiates. Better royalty structure, full IP retained by Janice. Exit clause on 12 months' notice. They sign the new version 6 weeks later. Sunday Royale frozen meals hit shelves in Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. By month 3, 14 states. One afternoon, Janice drives to the Kroger on Piedmont Road. She walks to the frozen food aisle. She finds the section. She stands there, her face on the box, her grandmother's name in the corner. Dorothy May's original recipe. She takes one off the shelf, holds it with both hands. A stock boy comes around the corner and stops. "Ma'am, you okay?" Janice looks up. "I'm good," she says. She puts the box in her basket. She buys it. She already knows what's in it. She just needed to hold it. The cookbook. The backlash. The truth. Janice spends 11 months writing the cookbook. Her editor, Priya, is patient and precise and does not let anything slide. Every recipe has to have a story behind it, not just ingredients and temperatures, the memory attached to it, the person it fed, the moment it was born in. Janice writes about Dorothy May at the stove at Christmas. She writes about the nurses eating in silence because there was no time to eat with joy. She writes about College Park, about growing up watching women pour everything they had into other people and never once being poured into back. She calls the book Sunday Royale, Feed Your People. It debuts at number 3 on the New York Times bestseller list. Janice sees the notification on her phone at 2:17 in the morning. She sits on the edge of her bed. She doesn't scream. She doesn't cry. She just sits, very still, for a long time. But success at that level does not arrive quietly. 2 days after the debut, a food blogger posts a thread. The allegation? Janice Monroe built her brand on recipes she absorbed from other black women in food service without credit. The thread gets 11,000 retweets before 9 a.m. Most of it is speculation dressed up as journalism, but there's one line in it that doesn't sit right, because it's true. Early on, Janice had incorporated a technique she learned from a woman named Gloria in the Mercy Regional Cafeteria, a specific way of finishing collard greens. She had never said Gloria's name publicly, not once. She hadn't meant to erase her. She just hadn't thought to include her. And in the court of public opinion, silence reads like theft. Janice could go dark. She could have her publicist draft a statement. She could get ahead of it with a lawyer's language and strategic messaging. She goes live instead. No makeup, no script, 47 minutes. She talks about Dorothy May. She talks about Gloria. She talks about every woman who ever handed her something in a kitchen without asking for credit. She talks about what it costs to build something as a black woman when the world is always watching for the moment you stumble. She names every name she should have named earlier. She says, "I got it wrong, and I'm fixing it right now, publicly, because these women deserve to be seen." 2 million people watch it. The conversation shifts. But Janice doesn't feel like she won. She feels like she survived something. And for the first time since she packed that first foil pan, she sits alone in her commercial kitchen after everyone has gone home, and she wonders if she was ready for what visibility actually costs. The foundation. Janice never forgot the parking lot at Mercy Regional. She never forgot clocking out with tired feet and exactly enough money to make it to the next check. She never forgot what it felt like to have a dream that nobody around you had language for. So in year 3 of Sunday Royale, Janice establishes the Dorothy May Foundation, named after her grandmother, built for the people nobody names in the success stories. CNAs, kitchen aides, housekeeping staff, orderlies, patient transport workers, the people who keep hospitals running from the bottom while everyone celebrates the people at the top. The foundation offers 3 things: business development workshops, monthly micro-grants up to $2,000, and one-on-one mentorship from women who have already built something from nothing. Janice funds the first cohort herself, 20 women. She flies them to Atlanta from hospitals in Memphis, Houston, Baltimore, and Detroit. She puts them up at a hotel in Midtown, and on Saturday evening, she cooks for all of them herself in the Sunday Royale commercial kitchen. She doesn't hire a caterer. She doesn't call her team in. Just Janice. Smothered chicken, candied yams, colored greens, mac and cheese. Dorothy May's full Sunday table. She stands in front of those 20 women, and she says the words she needed to hear at 29 years old, standing in a hospital kitchen with sore feet and a dream she couldn't explain. Your idea is not too small. Your neighborhood is not the wrong market. Your background is not a gap in your resume. It is the whole story. And the story is what they cannot take from you. 3 of the 20 women launch businesses within the year. One of them, a woman named Cheryl from a hospital in Nashville, starts a weekly soul food subscription for hospital staff. She calls Janice on a Sunday morning. She's crying. She says, "I had a nurse tell me today that my food tastes like something you'd make." Janice laughs. Then she gets quiet. She says, "That's the whole point, Cheryl. Keep going." The weight nobody posts about. Here is what the highlight reel does not show you. Janice Monroe has not slept a full 8 hours in 14 months. Her body carries a tiredness that a weekend cannot touch. She has a staff of 11 people now, and every single one of them needs something from her every single day. And some days she walks into that kitchen, and she has nothing left, and she gives it anyway. The relationship she had for 3 years ended on a quiet Tuesday evening. He didn't leave angry. He left sad. He said, "Janice, I feel like I'm in a relationship with a brand." She didn't argue, because part of her knew he wasn't wrong. She has missed her mother's birthday twice. She has canceled dinners with Renee more times than she can count. She has sat in the parking lot of her own kitchen for 20 minutes, unable to make herself go inside. Not because she doesn't love it, because loving something with your whole self is not the same as having what it takes to sustain it.
One morning, a Thursday, 4:30 a.m., still dark outside, Janice is sitting in her Altima in the parking lot. New car now. Same parking lot energy. Her phone rings. It's Denise, charge nurse, 3rd floor, Mercy Regional. She's retiring. After 31 years. She calls Janice because she needed to tell her something first. She says, "I don't know if you know this, but you changed the culture on that floor. When you started bringing those plates in, people started actually talking to each other during breaks. People started caring about each other in a different way. You reminded us that someone saw us." Janice doesn't say anything for a moment. She's looking out the windshield at the dark parking lot. She says, "You were the first name I wrote down, Denise." Denise says, "I know, and I'll never forget it." They say goodbye. Janice sits in the car a while longer. She lets every single year of it move through her. The $63 she spent before she made $1 back. The lease she signed with a trembling hand. The thread that almost took her down. The 20 women sitting at tables eating her grandmother's food. The cookbook on the shelf with Dorothy May's name in the corner. She lets all of it come at once. And then it settles, like a pot coming off the fire. Everything still. Everything exactly right.
The cycle. Janice is at Grady Memorial Hospital on a Wednesday morning. She's not there as a vendor. She's not there for a meeting or a photo opportunity or a speaking engagement. She's there for the Dorothy May Foundation's newest cohort orientation. Conference Room B, 4th floor. 12 women, different hospitals, different cities, different stories. Same tired eyes, same quiet fire somewhere underneath it all. Janice is at the front of the room going over the program overview when she notices her. Back row, left corner, young woman, maybe 24, 25, scrubs with a Grady badge, arms folded. Eyes that say she came because someone made her and she'd rather be anywhere else. Janice recognizes that posture. She invented that posture. During the break, she walks over with 2 cups of coffee and sits down in the empty chair next to her. The young woman looks up, surprised. Janice hands her the coffee, doesn't make a speech about it, just says, "What's your name?" "Trishelle." "What do you make, Trishelle?" Trishelle looks at her sideways. "What?" "What do you cook? What do you make? What do you bring in that makes people lose their mind a little?" Trishelle is quiet. She unfolds her arms. "My great-grandmother's sweet potato pie," she says. "People at work always asking me to bring it in for every little thing. Birthday, retirement, whatever." Janice nods slowly. She reaches into her bag and slides a small notebook across the table. Trishelle looks at it. Janice says, "Write the recipe down, every detail. Then write the story behind it, where it came from, who taught it to you, what it meant in your family. Don't skip anything." Trishelle picks up the notebook. She holds it like she's not sure what she's holding yet. Janice stands up. She says, "I used to work 1 floor below you. Kitchen aide. 6 years. I brought a foil pan to a nurse one Monday morning and called it nothing." She lets that sit. Then she says, "Write it down, Trishelle." And she walks back to the front of the room. Trishelle opens the notebook. She clicks the pen. She starts writing. Janice watches from the corner of her eye. She doesn't smile outwardly, but something inside her chest settles into place the way it only does when you know you're doing exactly what you were put here to do.
The cycle doesn't end with Janice Monroe. It never ended with Dorothy May. It just keeps moving forward. One plate, one woman, one notebook opened in the back row of a conference room, at a time. Sunday Royale, Feed Your People, in memory of Dorothy May Monroe, College Park, Georgia. She said, cook.